Welcome to the Storybook Africa podcast, a sanctuary of inspiration and transformation for the vibrant youth of Africa. Through the power of stories, we weave together the threads of resilience, hope, and cultural heritage, empowering young Africans to embrace their unique journeys with courage and confidence. From the sweeping savannas to the bright cities to the remote villages, each episode invites you to explore the diverse contexts that shape the extraordinary experiences and visions of Africa's youth. So, sit back, relax, and let us transport you through the heart of Africa, where lions roar, drums beat, and beautiful life happens, birthing tales of wisdom that foster healing, growth, and development.
Hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're joining us from, wherever you're listening in from. I don't know what time it is where you are, but I'm in Ethiopia. It's 11:30. I feel good. It's a new day, but I'm just tired. Child, for the child of me, for the life of me. I cannot figure out why I woke up feeling so exhausted. But hey, thank God for audio only recordings because ain't nobody trying to get on video right now. If you see me, I look like I have been hit by a bus. It was a very busy, fruitful week. So yesterday, I got the chance to, I had the honor of leading on a commemoration event of World Tuberculosis Day, which is actually on Sunday, tomorrow, 24th of March. But at the African Union, we celebrated it on Friday, 22nd of March, and it was, it took a lot of me, but we're here, and I'm happy, and I'm glad that that was able to take place. So today we'll be talking making room for the things that we pray about and the things we dream of. And this is coming from two questions that I got via our email. Thank you so much for all your questions. I would love to respond to all of them, but for sure I cannot, at least not in one session. So I'll continue to pick them up and pair them and address them in groups so that it's easy to take on. And today I will be answering a question from Grace from Malawi, and we have one from Marcus from Gauteng, South Africa. Gauteng. Is that how we say it? South Africans, let me know. Let me know in the chat if that's how we say it. So Grace is asking, how are you able to balance work and the Storybook Africa, and what tips would you share for someone who wants to start a side hustle without leaving their main job? That's a great question, and I do get this question a lot. Then Marcus asked, it is said rather, and asked, it's becoming challenging for me to stay consistent in pursuing, hoping, dreaming, and praying for my ambitions because I feel like many things are working against me as a young person, as an African, and as a man. It's like situations for growth just don't seem to favor me. What can you say about coming out of this situation? Because I really need to get out soon. Exclamation mark. So Marcus is not feeling good about the situation he's in, and we feel you, child. We feel you, and let's see how we can talk about this. So, from these two questions, I decided to shape the conversation around making room for the things we pray for and dream of, our visions rather, so that we are able to see results. We are able to partner with different aspects, partner with God, partner with our divine helpers, divine partners, their situations around us to make sure that we are active participants of the things that we actually want to see out of our lives, the results that we want to see. So, welcome very much. Very warm welcome to this conversation. I'm Whitney Mwangi, the founder of the Storybook Africa, and I'll be talking you through this conversation. So, last week we talked about how self love reflects on the choices that we make. And I think some of the subject matters that we discussed last week will definitely pour into this. And so I encourage you to go and listen to that because it's also a way of establishing strong foundational principles to make sure that while you're making room, you're actually creating expansion and you're not having to go back to ground zero. Because remember, building a house above a weak foundation is futile. You're not setting yourself up for consistency, for perseverance, for eternal life, for eternal achievements. Like what you're working towards most of the time will end up being not sustainable, right? So we talked about how we make sure that we establish strong foundations. Today, how do we exactly make room for the things that we want? And I will tie this into my responses to the questions from Grace and Marcus. So one, you definitely have to set clear intentions. For example, Grace, if you're trying to move away from your 9 to 5 job, how would that look like? Like, what is your intention? Is it because you're not getting enough fulfillment from your 9 to 5 job that you want to start something else? Do you need additional financial security? What is it that you're hoping to achieve through your side hustle? If I can use my example, my day-to-day job is around communication, journalism, media, advocacy, and that is still what the storybook does. So it doesn't feel like two separate lives. Like I take on a lab coat and I wear a trench coat when I come into the storybook. It's just me on me. Obviously, I have different roles. I'm leading on advocacy on my day to day job, but when it comes to the storybook, I'm a founder, which means I run the entire programmatic and operational process and function of the Storybook Africa. So while in the office I have support in little things, admin, like I don't have to figure everything out. I would need to figure that out for the Storybook Africa, which means how I balance my time will look totally different. But the role that I play, for example, my at best I can extend to my team to share feedback and opinion. And at the end of the day, the decision rests on me on what goes out and what doesn't. And so it's the same work, but I get to exercise different bones and muscles and functions of my dreams and my values. It's always been my dream to have an enterprise where I can support the young people. I can put to practice the things that I learned as a leader, as a communication specialist or a professional, as as a woman, as a teacher, as a healer, all that. How can I put all that together? And the room that is not available at my day-to-day job is I make it available at the storybook using whatever resources that I have, and I can use the storybook as a test. So that means that when I'm making decisions regarding the storybook, I have to be very sharp and clear most of the decisions, which means I'm going, because I'm a morning person, this will be my first assignment for the day. I will focus on, perhaps visualizing, strategizing. And when I have free time, for example, now I'm making this live for the storybook. When I have free time, I'm constantly thinking about this baby of mine. How can I nurture the baby? How can I create a suitable environment? So is this something that your 9 to 5 will allow, right? And when it doesn't allow, can you allow room? But once I understand that my intention with the story, for example, it's a retirement plan. This is for me when I'm not working, this is where I am, and I'm happy. It's not about money, it's not about there is well, it is about the result and the impact for sure, but it's fulfilling as well. I'm able to show up my full self, and I'm able to give back to the community and support others in the best way that I can. So yes, set clear intentions, even for you, Marcus, because sometimes I notice that when I'm stuck, sometimes I'm in the intentions of other people and not my own. Like I'm not in my unique purpose, I'm not in my unique directive, and so I'm busy working out the intentions of other people. So I would encourage you to look at areas of your ambitions or your prayers. Which areas are you actually focused on what other people want for you, as opposed to focusing on what is authentically true to you, and then direct everything else towards that? If it's your prayers, if it's your your time directed towards that. And then to visualize that success, because I noticed that confidence needs permission. Someone said this on a TED talk that I was listening to, but it stuck with me because I really resonated with it, and I keep you know referring back to that. Sometimes we are coming from environments where the things that we are dreaming of or our visions have not been achieved by anyone else. We are the frontliners, we are the first. And so you require all kinds of courage, boldness, and baptism of the Holy Spirit, child. You will need to see it all. Yeah, so it can happen for you. And so visualize it. This works for me when I work out. Just do not like being in the gym for too long. But this is how the conversation starts. But once I get there, I'm in there for at least 30 minutes. And visualizing helps me, especially the people that I enjoy emulating or following the exercises that they teach online. When I look at how their board is boarding, their summer board is looking like a, a Greek goddess, sculpture. It motivates me to keep going because I realize that now is an opportune time for me. I don't have kids. My work schedule allows for this, and I don't know about tomorrow. So I visualize how I would like my dream to look like, how I would look like if my dreams and my visions came to being, and then I go for that. So for you, Grace, how would it look like when you have your job and you have your side hustle going on, right? How would that look like? And even if it's visualizing you looking like a boss lady, going for photo shoots, it's okay. But you'd obviously want to focus on non-fleshly, I would say humanistic, materialistic kinds of visualizations, and just be as honest with yourself as possible. Like, are you able to see yourself leaving a meeting that you're supposed to be servicing and being on the top of matters to go and attend to, for example, your clients, or being on phone for quite some time, like all these things? Think about it. Even Marcus, think about what it would look like when situations are actually favoring you, and how would you respond to that? And sometimes it can lead you to a place of gratitude. You might even realize that you're farther than you know. And then just prioritize, sometimes we're trying to do everything and be everything, and some seasons do not allow for that, because at some point when you're a student, you can't be a teacher at the same time, at least not for the thing that you're trying to learn, right? Unless you're being a teacher for the purpose of reinforcing what you're learning, that is using other people as a textbook to reinforce what you've learned, which is not a bad thing. So prioritize, identify what matters most to you after visualizing and setting clear intentions, and allocate time and resources to activities that actually support those dreams and prayers and visions. And once you start allocating time and indulging, involving yourself in the issues, you'll realize that, gosh, I thought this would be a priority for me, and it actually isn't. So for my I think about I did a diploma in, like a postgraduate diploma in public relations management. I think that was it. And the dissertation that I did for this was on advocacy um, in the non-governmental space. Like, what factors actually matter when it comes to doing good, strong advocacy? And my initial thought was that it would be money, resources, only to realize that actually resources came last out of the five options that I was looking at. And one is the objectives, and two is the human resource that you allocate to that. So it's all about, again, this proved to me that sometimes what we think is a priority isn't, until you're actually in the work and you're monitoring and evaluating your results. You realize that, by the way, I just needed to have an understanding of my objectives, my intentions, prioritize, and get a team that will work on that or put in the effort and the resources, then start to see what actually matters. And then declutter your life, eliminate physical and mental clutter that's hindering your progress, decluttering your physical space, organizing your schedule, letting go of negative thoughts, beliefs, mindsets, people. Um, and by the way, sometimes people might not even be negative, like your environment might not be negative, but it just might not be favorable for the kinds of changes that you're trying to make, right? For example, Grace, trying to transition from your side hustle, etc. You may have a colleague who's a very good friend of yours. They're well meaning, they always encourage you, but then to them, they are not a business person. They just don't see themselves, venturing into business. To them, they want to live the soft life. They want to just come in and out, get a job, and maybe, get married to a wealthy person and just, take it easy, which is okay for to each their own. But for you, you're trying to get a way to have a side hustle and still do your main job. So for a season or for a moment, this colleague of yours that you've loved and liked and who's been a friend for a while will not be a confidant for this transition that you're trying to make. And you'd have to be okay with that, and you'd have to set a clear and very apparent space between you and them so that you're able to reach and achieve your side hustle and be at peace with that. That's what decluttering looks like. Sometimes it's not about cutting people off, it's not about cutting things off. It's just about creating necessary space and boundaries to make sure that there is adequate room to be and do what it is that's required to see your visions, your dreams, and your prayers manifest, right? Same for you, Marcus. If you sit down and look at your situation, you said, I want to come out of this situation. I really need to get out like soon. What is the situation? What is the situation? Like write it out on a paper. What is the situation? What is this situation looking like physically, mentally, psychologically, spiritually, emotionally, financially? Like write it out. If you were what do you call this a witness at a crime scene, and the police asked you to describe this human that you saw, the criminal that you saw, and they were required to, draw out that person, how would you describe your situation from head to toe? That if someone else who was not at the crime scene would see, they can identify and say, yo, my brother, this is your situation. And once you're able to see your enemy, then you're able to know, what do I need to cut off? What do I need to prioritize? What do I need to rearrange? What do I need to invest more in? And what kind of investments am I going to make? And with time, you'll start seeing fruits and results that encourage you to keep hoping, pursuing, dreaming, and praying. And I promise you, with time, you'll get out of the situation. But we really need to understand the situation, right? Yeah. And then create a plan, guys. Let's create a plan. And so for me, for example, when it comes to the storybook, we have a plan for the next year by the end of the previous year. And then during the year of implementation, I have them divided by quarter, and we look at that as a team. What is working for us and what isn't. And one thing that I'm trying to think of now, I mean, we're trying to implement now, is working by the quarter, because we're noticing, yes, it's good to have an annual plan because anything can happen. Like last year, I decided to go to Italy. If we didn't have an annual plan, that would have disoriented everyone, right? So creating a plan, it gives you confidence, it gives you speed, it gives you clarity, because you're able to look at what is required of me. So like for you, Grace, what does it mean to transition and balance your time? What's that plan like? Like which days can you give time to your side hustle, and what is required? Because for example, for the storybook, the initial stages looked like registration, finding a name, paying for those for the name in the government portals, finding the necessary documents, opening bank accounts, developing website, having the content for the website, having staff, having deciding the contractual agreements and the terms of agreement, the payments, how will we make the payment? Like there is a lot that goes into that. And sometimes, by the way, for example, I say that this afternoon I'm going to pay for all the registration costs. My Jesus, that is the day the government website is not working. And that is for Kenya. I'm in a different country. I'm trying to register a company in Kenya, which means I need to wait, right? I need to maybe find someone who can go physically to the company, to the government office. So those little things, and just being ready with a timeline. Because once you have a timeline, you know, okay, so today I plan to register the names, but the website is down. And tomorrow I planned to prepare the content that will go up to the website. So I'm not going to focus on forcing or praying and fasting over the government website, right? I'm going to go straight to figuring out how the website is going to go, right? And um, and yeah, once you have that figured out, then you're able to know what to go to next, you know, if that makes sense. And you will really appreciate the process, by the way, because it will give you freedom. You know, today I want to go swimming, for example, or today I have an emergency meeting at work, or I want to take a therapy session. I can do it at this time and this time because according to my plan, this is how I can pivot, this is how I can take a detour, and this is how I can again come back to my plan and meet the goal. If when you develop a strategic plan to achieve your goals, you're able to break down your objectives into smaller manageable tasks, and you're able to create a timeline, you're able to set a budget, you're able to monitor and evaluate eventually and see what did I achieve and why was I not able to achieve that? What do I need so that this result, undesirable result, does not repeat itself? And then just make time, you know, make time. In the beginning, it might be hard, difficult. Like in the previous episodes, I said that I started learning French. I take the classes at 6:30 a.m. every morning, and it's been achievable so far. But you know what that means. I In the morning I like to do, for example, my morning devotion. I like to go to the gym. I like to have my breakfast also. And so, what time am I waking up? Did you ask yourself that? What time am I waking up to do all these things? And if I am late by any second, it means that some things don't get done. So normally I would wake up at 4 a.m. This is my normal time, which is why I ended up picking the 6:30 a.m. class, because I know between 4:30 and 6:30 I probably have done my devotion, I have done a proper maybe 30 minutes exercise, I've come back, taken a shower, and I've taken my breakfast. Then I right on the dot. A couple of times I have maybe my alarm went off and I was tired, I switched that off and I got off bed at 5, and then I decide to do my devotion. By that time the best I can do is have breakfast, because when the class ends at 8:30 it's time to vamoose and go to the office, which means I get to the office much later. And so with your 9 to 5 job, is this something that you're able to do? Because I know in some offices, if you're not at your desk by 8, people be looking at you crazy. So making time, making time is, scheduling, writing it down, writing it out. Even if I've scheduled to call someone, I put it on my calendar because I really want to see how that looks like on my calendar, and having dedicated time each day, each week, to work towards your goals. And then, that will also help you with consistency, because the moment I realize that, once I allocate this time, I'm comfortable, it's undisrupted time, then you're able to be consistent and you're able to see yourself for who you are exactly. By the way, once a challenge presents yourself and you find yourself ditching some things, it teaches you many things about you and how you feel about that thing. And so it ends up, also showing you what you need to prioritize and what you need to let down. And then seeking support, once you make time and you realize that, oh gosh, I'm putting off doing my laundry, for example, because I now have picked up a side hustle. It turns out I don't have time to do my laundry anymore. So it again dictates to you on the kind of support that you need. Maybe I need someone to come in every week and take care of my laundry. Yeah, and so surround yourself with people who support your dreams and aspirations. They could be functional people who, and by functional, I mean they're helping you take care of, administrative and other things. Or they could be emotional supports like therapists, counselors, just a good friend. Marcus, you might want to think about this. Maybe a man that um, maybe is you just see things working out for them, and you want to have a coffee with emotions over onto them, but you're just having a one-on-one respectful conversation like, hey man, I see you doing really well in this area, and it's an area that I want to grow in. So what do you think? I feel like when I try this and this is not working, and you'll be surprised the kind of support that ends up coming. And share your goals with trusted friends. Again, trusted, because we've talked about decluttering and prioritizing, and mentors who can offer you encouragement and guidance. I'm telling you, this has been very helpful to me. Even people who just tell me like, yo, I don't know how you find time. I'm very proud of you for being able to balance all these things. Those things encourage me, they keep me going. So seek support, and then staying flexible. Remain open to unexpected opportunities and be willing to adjust your plans as needed. Flexibility will allow you to adapt to changing circumstances and to seize new possibilities. And this goes back to the where we started, setting clear intentions. Because once you understand your intentions, you will be able to distinguish between a a new possibility that is to be seized by you and one that needs to be appreciated, clapped for, and then let go of. Because every good opportunity doesn't mean it's good for you. But once you understand your and this is where a deception comes in and frustration follows, because we end up seeing people in things that we love, we admire, we imagine that's the result that we want, and we try to copy them or take on opportunities that we imagine will lead us to, or just copy the opportunities that they take and try to take similar opportunities. But friend, this is a proper recipe for pain. You need to know yourself, like we said last week. Know yourself, accept yourself, love yourself, and then set clear intentions for what is going to get you to the dreams that you want. And once you start prioritizing, you sort of just see, what can I accept and what can I make room for, right? Quickly, on a whim, flip of a finger, snap of a finger rather, that I would take on this opportunity. I remember last year in March, we had an opportunity to join the Kenya Model United Nations at the UN for an event that was going to cover a youth engagement forum through the week, and then in between we would have the International Women's Day. So they sent me this notification maybe like a couple of days, like maybe 5 days in advance, and I'm still at work. So I was like, yo, this is too short of a timeline, but we stand to lose on a lot, because they were inviting us to be partners in that event, which means we would have visibility. I would get to interact with youth, get to know their issues. They would get to know about the Storybook Africa. We would do a couple of interviews to extend the campaigns that we had running at the time. It was going to look good. So I accepted. And by accepting this, it meant a lot of investment. First of all, my flight to get me to Kenya, to have my staff servicing that meeting through the week, to get casual staff who all need salaries, by the way, and to get equipment, hire equipment, so that we were able to fulfill our needs and for me to dedicate my time. And what that meant, even professionally, because at the time I had a consulting contract, it means if I'm out of work, I'm not getting paid. So there's a lot of sacrifices that need to go into this. But I was looking at the storybook. It's been a long journey from 2013, but I finally registered it in 2018. So this is 2022, with a profile of, what's that? Is it 4 years? With a profile of 4 years, we get to stand on a platform that has existed for over 60 years. That was huge for me. And I still thank God for that opportunity up until today. And that, it made me see the privilege and the importance of staying flexible and being willing to adjust as needed. But you need to know who you are, what you actually need, what you're actually pursuing, and what you will. And even through that conference, I didn't have the team there every day. And some days I had a few people on there and not everyone else, because I was able to look at the agenda and decide these are priorities for the storybook, these are priorities for this and this. Others are not priorities, so they can interact in this and this way and grow in this and this way. But I would not have been able to have that clarity had I not known what I want. And then from there, you're able to practice gratitude because you see your results. You're able to know what it is you want, what it is you're measuring, and then you practice. And by the way, it's from that incomes, from that day-to-day job that you'll be able to finance your side hustle at least. So flexibility, but then also practicing gratitude. I'm sure that there's a lot of things that we enjoy that we don't really get to look at. And Grace, for example, from Malawi, you have a job, and I'm sure that you get quite a lot from this job, and it's what is going to support you to sustain your side hustle. Marcus, as well, I'm sure that there's so many things that you love doing, and by just saying practicing gratitude, it might help you develop a positive mindset and attract more blessings to your life. As you know, the Bible says, be anxious for nothing, but with a heart of gratitude and supplication, submit your request to God, and make it known to Him, and be at rest. I'm sure He will come to our rescue. And so staying committed, even when faced with challenges and setbacks, trust in your abilities and stay focused in your vision. And by the way, commitments can actually help you define what your true priorities are. Because sometimes we are guided by things that were never really meant to be for us, but maybe we admired them, we were lustful over them, and then when the trials come, you realize that I cannot continue on this journey. I cannot continue to pursue this thing. Um, and so once you understand your intentions, you're able to withstand the challenges and setbacks and just remaining committed. But then also there are very many other aspects that you can apply to make sure that you're attaining, maintaining the discipline that is required um, to make your vision known. So I want to take this opportunity to thank Grace and Marcus for your questions, and encourage the rest of you to just keep sending in your questions to info@thestorybook.whitneymwangi.com, and I will certainly get to them every Saturday.
Don't you just love stories? Stories shape how we understand the world, our place in it, and our ability to change it. We are all products of our backgrounds, perceptions, and experiences, which form how we interpret the world. So we all have unique stories to share. You too can inspire the world with your story. The Storybook Africa accepts stories under 3 categories all year round: Young and on Fire, Note to Younger Self, and Dear Diary. You can also join us to transform the lives of youth in Africa by 1. Participating in youth empowerment projects we run, through which we partner with businesses owned by young Africans to host events, run campaigns, or award grants for business expansion. 2. Submitting or buying a digital product from our e-shop, which is a hub of amazing items that can support the community's healing, growth, and development journey crafted by young Africans. Excited to partner with us? Visit our website today for more information: www.thestorybook.whitneymwangi.com.
So, what have we talked about today? Grace asked, how are you able to balance work and the storybook? And what tips would you share for someone who wants to start a side hustle without leaving their main job? And Marcus said, it's becoming challenges for me to stay consistent in pursuing, hoping, dreaming, and praying for my ambitions, because I feel like many things are working against me as a young person, as an African, and as a man. It's like situations for growth just don't seem to favor me. What can you say about coming out of this situation? Because I really need to get out soon. And I'm saying that some practical steps to just make room for your dreams and your visions is: 1, set clear intentions of what you want and why you want it, who you are, Why? How does all of this tie together? And then two, visualize your success. How would it look like if you have the things that you're dreaming of praying for, you know? This also helps you align your thoughts and your actions and your mindset. Then prioritize, identifying what matters and prioritizing it accordingly in terms of time, resources, etc. Decluttering your life, that's number 4. And your, schedule the people around you. Then number 5, create a plan, a proper plan, morning to evening, month to month. How does this look like? How does my vision and my dream look like? Then number 6, make time. Schedule dedicated time to make your dreams happen. If it's prayer, you have time for that. If it's talking to a mentor, a therapist, you have time for that. If it's journaling, gratitude, practices that foster gratitude, you have time for that. And then what's that? Number 7, seek support, surrounding yourself with people who are in line with your dreams and aspiration. Not people who support you going just to please you, but people who they encourage you, they motivate you, and they also check you when you go in sideways. And then seeking support as needed. Yes, stay flexible because flexibility is necessary. Sometimes circumstances change and new possibilities show up, and you need to show up for them. Then practicing gratitude, and lastly, staying committed. So by implementing these strategies, I believe that you can, one, Grace, make that transition, and also, Marcus, you can sort of start to see yourself coming out of this rut that you feel that you're stuck in. And just remember to stay patient and persistent, because meaningful change often takes time and it takes effort. So as I close out, I'd like to recommend a video by Dr. Miles Monroe, the late Dr. Miles Monroe, and it's called How to Write Your Vision in Life. I have it downloaded on my YouTube, and I listen to it ever so often, maybe every week or every 2 weeks. In this video, he talks about the meaning of a vision, what it looks like to have a vision, why you need to have one, and other related values like self-discipline, focus, commitment, wisdom. Like, I really like this video. It gives me lots of clarity, and it sort of grounds me on what is going on with my vision assessment. Am I in the right direction? And it helps me, because counseling and mentorship is expensive, honey. Okay. And listening to videos like this, that someone took their time and it's comprehensive, they're step by step, it's a good class. I think it would be really good. So au revoir, Storybook family. Love you loads, and looking forward to connecting with you again next week. Same place, same time. Bon weekend, tout le monde, mes amis. Ciao, bye.
So that's our story. What's yours? Be sure to connect with us on social media at The Storybook Africa on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube, or at The Storybook_AF on Instagram and X. Subscribe to the Storybook Africa podcast today on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Until we meet again, keep writing your own story, and may it be a testament to your limitless potential. Hakuna Matata for now, and remember, your story matters.